How's it going, everybody, and welcome back. This is Wake Run Collapse, and in today's video I'm going to show you my top 12 Japanese hyper rare cards. Now, as always, this is an opinion video, and your opinion is entitled to be different just as mine is entitled to be different from yours. So if you have a difference in that opinion, then let me know in the comment section below. Tell me what some of your favorite hyper rares are, maybe where you would slot certain cards into the list. But for now, let's just get on to the list. I do have a bit more fondness for other types of cards versus the hyper rares. I think the hyper rare appeal mostly lasts in the fact that they are so much rarer to get than some other cards. I don't think the actual, rainbow effect adds all that much to it, especially where the artwork is exactly the same as with the super rares. If the art were different, then I would imagine that there would be a lot more to like, but I've not exactly experienced that because they don't do it. So in light of that, let's just go forward and kind of understand that what makes a good hyper rare for me maybe doesn't make the same thing for you. I in particular don't really see a lot of value in the rest of the card aside from how they design it as a hyper rare and how the actual artwork appeals in that style of card, because you can't play around with colors in the background or things like that. So with that disclaimer out of the way, let's start with the list. Not a whole lot of explanation for the first few cards, but we'll start talking about them as we go through. At number 12 from Sun and Moon 6, we've got the Yveltal hyper rare. In at number 11, from Sun and Moon 4A, we've got the Guzzlord hyper rare. No list would be complete without Guzzlord on there. At least not on my channel. At number 10, all the way back from Sun and Moon 1+, we have the Sylveon hyper rare. And at number 9, from the same set, Sun and Moon 1+, we have the Decidueye hyper rare. When I was going through all my cards to make this list, I was really taken aback by his stance and how powerful it seemed in this style of card, so I had to include it on the list. Coming in at number 8 from Sun and Moon 6B, we have the Articuno hyper rare. Now, Articuno is a card that has always worked really well with the blue background, but for some reason, the way that this card was laid out and how it makes good use of its space did lend itself pretty well to the hyper rare formatting and style, so I definitely appreciated it. I like that so much of Articuno's body as well is nice and plain, because the plain background and the plain, foreground of the Pokemon really lets the colors shine through as you move it around, which I thought was nice. In at number 7, also Sun and Moon 4A, we've got the Gyarados hyper rare. Gyarados is such a classic design for Pokemon, and for some reason this one just works as a hyper rare. I would have expected to enjoy the super rare a lot more, but this one definitely does look pretty beastly. So I'm pretty sure if somebody just drew it on a piece of cardboard, it would still look awesome, and therefore it's making the list at number 7. In at number 6, we start to get into the cards that are really upper echelon for me. It's from Sun and Moon 3N. We've got the Necrozma hyper rare. Now, I don't have any particular affiliation toward Necrozma. I've never played through a Pokemon game and gotten Necrozma as a Pokemon before. It's just not something that I've explored. But I really, really like the sharp cuts in the design of the Pokemon, and I like the angle of approach that they took with this card. It just looks really cool. And again, you have those bigger, flatter surfaces that aren't super over designed or anything like that. That lets the colors look really nice. So I really dig that one. That's number 6. Number 5 from Sun and Moon 6 is maybe something that some of you wouldn't have on the list at all, but it's there for me. It's the Zygarde hyper rare. I've always enjoyed Zygarde on a full art or hyper rare card. Just a boss looking Pokemon. If they had included full art Zygarde with a hyper rare version in the past, then I'm sure it would have also looked awesome. But it's this Gundam style Pokemon that I guess appeals to me. It's almost like a mecha. And I do like this one in particular because it's almost like a built-in rainbow effect on a rainbow card, because it's got that really sharp red and orange across the top there that fades all the way down to the blue and the purple here, and yet the rainbow effect still really lingers on the card. You can see how it differs. I thought that was a stark contrast to some of the other stuff that goes on, and I really enjoyed it here, so definitely a fan. Number 4, this one is obviously, like many of the other ones, a little bit less pronounced with the red to green to blue to purple and then kind of back to red formatting, but it's from the original Collection Sun. It's the Solgaleo Hyper Rare. Now, when they announced Hyper Rares, it was a completely new thing for us, and we really needed like an awesome version of the card to kind of shepherd us through into this new era, and Solgaleo was definitely that card for me. Like, I get that Espeon and Umbreon and Lunala were available as well, and I like all those cards, but this particular Solgaleo really stood out for me. Just the way it's designed, obviously the Pokemon Solgaleo deserved to be one of the flagship Pokemon here, because of, well, how awesome it looks. And this card is definitely no exception. Moving on to number 3, again, another surprise is going to pop up here. This is from Sun and Moon 6B. It's the Banette Hyper Rare. Now, Banette as a Pokemon, as a design, is not a whole lot to be jumping up and down about. I do like it, but I don't love it. The thing that really makes this card stand out for me is the eyes. I love this decision. It's so different from a lot of the other hyper rares, having those like pinkish, peachish color eyes that just stand out so well, no matter what reflection you're getting on the card. It's just it's completely one of a kind, and I really enjoy it. It has this super creepy effect, and now that it's October, I mean, I have to include it in the list, right? But it's a super creepy effect. This one is a little bit more pronounced with the blues and purples in the bottom as well, which puts even more emphasis up here on the eyeballs. And Banette's super creepy, and a cool decision to make as a full art and hyper rare in the first place. So it's definitely slotted in at number 3 for me. At number 2, it's a pretty darn brand new card. It's the Tyranitar GX Hyper Rare from the brand new set that we just had, Explosive Impact. I can't tell you if the Suicune is going to be on the list because I haven't gotten it in yet. So Tyranitar is going to slot in at number 2. Tyranitar is just a beast. He looks fantastic. This is a really clean design as well. It's not over adorned like if the Mega Tyranitar had received a Hyper Rare. This one in particular is just like, boom, it's a T-Tar, he's a badass, enjoy it. Take it. I always felt that Tyranitar kind of looked like an angry, transformed, like, piece of chicken. It's so strange to admit to other people, but it's how I've always felt about it. But this is probably the best possible Tyranitar they could have made, and therefore it's in at number 2. And at number 1, I have a card that has a hyper rare that also has another hyper rare, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't put any other card at number 1 from Sun and Moon 7B. You all know what's coming. It's the Alolan Ninetales Hyper Rare. Now, the Water/Ice type one is also really good, but I couldn't include 2 copies of Alolan Ninetales when one of them was the clear number 1 for me. It's an absolutely stunning design. It looks great on everything. I like the way that they use the lines for it as well, because it really it sets a bit of depth for the card that you wouldn't expect to be there. And then, of course, by being such a beautiful and fairy type design and such a cool looking Pokemon, it gathers a lot and benefits a lot from having this rainbow on it as well. Just spectacular work all the way around. They have a lot to be proud of by creating this card, and it is the top ranked hyper rare on my list. So, now you've seen my list, I want to hear what your list is. Let me know in the comment section below what your favorite hyper rares are. You can give me your top 1, top 3, top 5, top 20, top 50 if you want. I don't know if there's 50. I think there's 50. There's probably been 50. I was going to get out my my hyper rare Zekrom, but I'm not made of friggin' money, so I don't have that, and I will never have that. So I don't know how many hyper rares I don't have. I don't know how many of them are promos, but that's definitely one that is never going to exist in the collection. So this is pretty much my top 12 forever. So thank you very much for watching. I look forward to hearing your responses in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys back here tomorrow for another video.